Thanks. So yeah, the topic of the day will be on the path to singleness of money for stablecoin. We will analyze what it means, why we are in the situation we are here, what was done in the past to solve it, and what we should start considering, thinking of maybe doing soon. Just as a presentation for those that doesn't know me, I'm Sebastian Derivaux, working at Steakhouse Financial. We have a new brand, so the colors will be a bit off between each others because I only made half of the presentation with the new brand and half with the other one. But we have a rooted history in MakerDAO where we started in 2020, dealing with the old stuff related to real-world assets, making a lot of deals, but also bringing balance sheets, and you will see a lot of balance sheets. And thanks to Charles to explaining you how balance sheets are working, so I don't have to do it again. We are also the largest curator on Morpho with 700 million, and we announced yesterday, that we will manage up to a bit more than $1 billion for Grove, which is a new sub-DAO of Sky. So what is the problem that we are trying to solve, and what does it mean, singleness of money? It's a funny word to say, well, it's a funny word to say something very simple, is that all stablecoin, or all bank deposit, or all banknotes should be fungible and exactly the same. So if you want a more formal definition, it's giving a unit of money should be universally accepted and interchangeable at par, one-to-one. So if I pay you, let's say with USDC, and you want to hold USDP, which is a Paxos stablecoin or PayPal, USD, you can just change it one-to-one, so you don't care if I pay in USDC because you can change it to Pi USD instantly. Back in the old days, and old days I will always mean in Scotland, and during the free banking era 200 years ago, each bank were taking the banknotes of other banks, and they would not have any issue. Today, if you try to take a Pi USD and go at Circle, that will not work. So the good part is that in free banking Scotland, so in the 19th century, 18th century, it took 25 years for the two biggest banks, the Scottish Bank, the Bank of Scotland and the Royal Bank of Scotland, to accept their deposit at par, or their banknotes at par. Why was it the case? Because there was buying the stablecoin, let's call everything a stablecoin. They were buying the stablecoin of the other one, and one day showing up at Circle and say, well, I have 1 billion USDC, can you redeem today? And that was a war, that was a big mess, so they decided, well, let's stop competing, and there was also obviously competition, so that's why they stopped competing. So what does it matter to have singleness of money? It prevents fragmentation. When you go to Amazon and you want to buy something that costs $24, you want to pay 24 USDC or 24 Pi USD. You don't want to pay 24.01 or 23.95 because the stablecoin is fluctuating. So my view is that a stablecoin-based financial system must achieve singleness of money to be efficient and widely accepted, especially by institutions. I mean, for retail, maybe a few bips of difference between stablecoin is not too bad. You can use Curve, which works nicely, but I mean, come on, it's not super efficient. I mean, I want 1 USDC equal 1 PayPal USD. Why? Because in TradFi, it works like that. So if you cannot even be the same level of non-qualities in TradFi, what are we doing here? So we will see that the solution is to allow each stablecoin to clear against each other, and we will see in detail what does it mean. But first, just a bit of a segue to stablecoin and primary markets. Primary markets are where you are redeeming as the issuer for something that is worth $1. And secondary market is when you are going on Curve to do the swapping. And more often than not, most people are used to go on the secondary market. And that's why people are saying, well, the price of USDC today is 0.995. Because that's the price on the secondary price. But if you go on Circle or on Coinbase, which is their partner, the price is always a 1. Even during the SVB incident, if you did go to Coinbase or Circle, redemption price was 1. So what are we speaking about? Obviously, they didn't redeem because it was on a weekend, and they don't work on a weekend like every TradFi institution. But what is interesting, and that's recognized by Micah and Genius, that you should be able to redeem your stablecoin for $1. So why it is, in reality, you will see a lot of DeFi stablecoin now, or even fiat-backed stablecoin like Tether, where you cannot redeem. I mean, who here has an account at Tether? I guess almost no one. No one. Who has an account at Circle? Okay, no, 1%, thanks. So that's not working well. And same stuff happened now on DeFi protocol. If you go on Ethena, you need to be KYC'd. On other stablecoin as well, you need to be KYC'd. There is a good reason, because they want to be able to do the KYC, because they just are not sure if there could be some issues by dealing with bad people. But also they try to sometimes to charge fees on redemptions. And the rationale is, well, maybe if you charge fees on redemption, people will not redeem, or we will at least make some money, which is a nice thinking. But if you want to make a good product, maybe start by not making it a bad product. If you don't want to let people getting out, they will not get in. That's always the issue. So I think it's really important that we level up and make sure that at least on the primary market, even for stablecoins that are not MiCA or Genius regulated, that at least if you are promising to be worth $1, let people redeem for something that is worth $1. If you want to go on a more balance sheet perspective on the problem, you can see here that you have the payers that hold one stablecoin one, the payee, which is the guys that need the money, which is holding a promissory note on the payer, which means that the payer need to pay him $1 or whatever the amount is, wants only to hold stable 2, but payer has stable 1. And so the question is, well, how can we fix this problem? So payer paying stable 1 never has stable 2 counterparty exposure. Payer receives stable 2 never has stable 1 exposure, and the transaction is atomic. Transaction atomic on the blockchain is usually quite simple. What was quite funny is that if you lived in 2021, you could redeem 4 billion with a B of DAI for USDC without any single bips of slippage. That was 2021. Now, if you do it right now, it doesn't work anymore. I don't think there is a 4 billion still in the PSM. What happened at the time is that there was a DAI was pegged, soft pegged, but still pegged to USDC, USDP, so Paxos, and Gemini, which what they call a PSM, which is meaning that Maker was holding some of the stablecoin on their balance sheet. You can see here Maker holding some GUSD on their balance sheet. So that means if someone wanted to pay from USDC to the payee which wanted to have a GUSD, this person could have make a multi-step process, which is obviously atomic on the blockchain, by minting DAI with the USDC. So next step, the payer has DAI. Then the payer can redeem DAI for GUSD at MakerDAO. We just swap the asset of MakerDAO from GUSD to USDC, which is fine for MakerDAO because it's just a stablecoin. And then the payer has GUSD and can send it to the payee. So you can see in this presentation that the payer still have some exposure to GUSD. It's just because I wanted to break it down, but everything happened in the same transaction. So either it works or it doesn't. So actually payer never has any exposure. If you now go in 2025, we have two main types of stablecoin, and I made a broad generalization because otherwise it's quite complex. We have the fiat-backed stablecoin, which are compliant, MiCA or Genius. They cannot provide yield by regulation because regulators want to protect you to earn money. And they cannot hold stablecoin on their balance sheet. Can't or cannot, it's complicated. And they are full reserve banking. They only hold short-term debt from the US government or the European government. So the lack of yield makes them quite a bad product, obviously, which is obviously good for the second part, which are the DeFi stablecoin, because obviously people will want a yield at some point, so they will turn to an alternative. What is also bad with the fiat-backed stablecoin that you have the singleness of money at risk, because the stablecoin cannot really hold other stablecoin, or it's complicated. So then regulation is making sure that the singleness of money is broken, and then they can complain that singleness of money is broken, which is obviously a circular argument. You have DeFi stablecoin on the other side. I put everything that has a token, more or less, that provide yield, which is fractional reserve banking, because they have maybe some stablecoins, some bank deposits, some T-bills like Sky today, but they can invest in really what they want, so they can provide a yield. Obviously, a yield can come with a risk or not. If we stay on the fact that DeFi stablecoin are mainly here, value proposition is mainly to provide a yield, we can think, well, maybe we can just extend. You don't need a stablecoin, maybe. Maybe what you need is a lending protocol or any saving product where you can generate a yield on a stablecoin. There is, for instance, one product on the Sky, so a maker now called Sky, where you can deposit USDC and it's invested directly in SUSDS, which is a saving stablecoin of Sky, where you are earning, I don't know what it is today, but let's say 5%. But they removed the swap to USDS, which is the actual stablecoin of Sky, because they found out, well, people want to have a yield on USDC, so they need to swap first to USDS, then to SUSDS, so it's a two-step, a lot of friction, while most people want just the yield. So they removed the swap to USDS. Yes, so we can say, well, maybe lending protocol, which you can deposit USDC and earn a yield on it, which are actually kind of the same structure that what MakerDAO was doing for the last 7 years, just lending against sound crypto collateral. Maybe that's enough. There is actually a trade-off, because lending protocol do only one thing, lending, while a stablecoin or full-fledged stablecoin can have many yields opportunities. You have Ethena that can accept, that can go to the basis trade. You have a Maker that is now invested quite a lot in real world assets. So there is more opportunities on DeFi stablecoin, but obviously you are taking a bit more risk because it's more open to what those people can do. One thing that is interesting is that now we have tokenized T-bills. Tokenized T-bills have started 2 years and a half ago, and now it's more than 7 billion. And it's kind of a pristine collateral because it's mainly invested only in T-bills. So it's kind of a very safe way. Reality is a bit more complicated. Obviously, some issuers are less trustable than others, but let's assume we go to the sound ones, and it's quite a pristine collateral. So you might ask yourself, well, instead of keeping, for instance, as we saw with Sky, holding USDC, which wasn't yielding until recently, or 2 years ago, maybe you just hold those tokenized T-bills, you earn a yield, and you have something that is kind of worth one. If you look, for instance, for USTB, which is a superstate product, you can redeem at any point in time during the day, and you will have the exact price the price of the day, and it's accruing interest every second. So it's kind of a very good product to create what I call the asset settlement. We saw the PSM way of Sky previously, holding USDC and GUSD. Here, maybe the stablecoin issuers can hold USTB, for instance, and then with the smart contract, we just make sure that when the Sky, for instance, here wants to hold USDT, a payee wants to be held in M, which is another stablecoin. You see the M0 balance sheet on the third column. They can just make a swap from the USTB. Sky is giving the USTB to M0, and that settle the clearing and allows the payer to move from USDS to M, and to give the M token to the payee. So that's quite nice. What is very interesting here is that USTB is a permissioned asset. You can assume that neither the payer and neither the payee are onboarded, but it still works. Very quickly, we also have a GPMD, which is a tokenized bank deposit by JP Morgan, issued on the blockchain. So that will allow any regulated stablecoin, fiat-backed stablecoin, to be able to do the same stuff. They can settle between fiat-backed stablecoin using this token, because most of those stablecoins have a bank account at JP Morgan. And as conclusion, we are going to make it. At some point, all stablecoin or most stablecoin will be one-to-one, and user will never have to lose slippage or whatever by going just swapping between stablecoin. We have the tools, but we just need to be sure that when we launch a new stablecoin, we make sure to at least allow one-to-one conversion with at least one other stablecoin. And if we all agree to include one or two stablecoins, at some point we will mesh the network and everyone will be redeemable one-to-one, because you can find a way from one stablecoin to the other to be redeemable one-to-one. Thank you.